my brothers and sisters, before we begin, let us bow our hearts for a moment of gratitude. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the breath of life, for the sunrise that reminds us that your mercy is new every morning. Thank you for the chance to hear, to learn, to grow, and to rise again. Bless every soul listening tonight, every heart that's been weary, every dream that's been delayed, every mind searching for peace. May your light awaken in us the strength to walk boldly, to love deeply, and to live truthfully. Amen. Now listen. There is something powerful inside you that you may have forgotten. Something ancient, sacred, and unbreakable. It's not in the noise of the world, not in the applause, not in the validation of others. It's quiet. It's waiting. It's the silent light within. The light that God placed in you before you ever opened your eyes. The world has tried to dim it. Disappointments tried to bury it. Pain tried to silence it. Fear tried to paralyze it. But it's still there. Your peace is not lost. It's waiting inside you. You've just got to awaken it. You see, too many of us have been searching for peace, as if it's hiding in someone else's pocket. We think peace comes when people treat us right, when circumstances align, when success finally arrives. But the truth, the greatest advice you will ever receive, is this: your peace has never left you. It lives within you. It's part of the divine design of your being. The same power that spoke galaxies into existence whispers in your spirit, "Be still and know that I am God." You have been running, haven't you? Running after people's approval, running after achievements, running away from your own reflection because you don't like what it reminds you of. But the more you run, the further you get from that quiet voice that says, "You are enough." Peace does not chase you. It waits for you, patiently, in the stillness of your own heart. Let me tell you something you can never find on the outside, what you have not cultivated on the inside. You can have all the success the world offers, but if you haven't awakened your inner peace, you'll still feel empty. You'll sit in a beautiful house with a broken heart. You'll wear fine clothes, but carry a heavy soul, because peace doesn't come from possessions, it comes from presence. Not the presence of things, but the presence of Gada within you. And that presence, my friend, is power. It's not the power that dominates, it's the power that liberates. The power that says, "I will not be defined by what hurt me." The power that whispers, "Even if I failed yesterday, I can rise today." The power that reminds you that your past does not cancel your promise. You've been waiting for someone to hand you your destiny. But I came to tell you today that the power is in your hand. The moment you stop blaming others, the moment you stop saying, "If only they helped me, if only life was fair," that's the moment you reclaim your authority. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are a vessel of purpose. God put something in your hand. It might not look like much, but if you use it, if you trust it, it can open doors no man can shut. Remember when the widow in Scripture told the prophet she had nothing left but a little oil. She underestimated what she already had. Many of us are doing the same thing. We keep saying, "I have nothing left, no strength, no hope, no direction." But God is whispering, "You have enough. You've got oil left, you've got purpose left, you've got light left, you just have to pour it. Stop waiting for a perfect moment. There is no such thing. The perfect time is the time you decide to act. The miracle begins when you move. The sea didn't part until Moses lifted his hand. The walls didn't fall until they shouted. The breakthrough didn't come until the woman with the issue of blood reached out and touched the hem of his garment. Power does not respond to hesitation. It responds to faith. Faith, my friend, is the key that awakens the light within. Faith says, "Even when I can't see it, I believe it." Faith says, "Even when I'm scared, I'll move anyway." Faith says, "Even if I fall, I will rise again." Because peace is not the absence of storms. Peace is standing firm in the middle of them, knowing who holds your boat. You see, when you awaken the silent light within, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop panicking and start praying. You stop complaining about darkness and start shining. Because light doesn't fight darkness, it just, shows up. That's all you've got to do. Show up, be light in your home. Be light at your job. Be light in your pain. The world is starving for authenticity, for kindness, for courage. And your inner light is the medicine it's waiting for. But let me teach you something. Awakening that light doesn't happen by accident. You've got to be intentional. You've got to create quiet in a world that loves noise. You've got to make time to sit with your soul, to breathe, to pray, to listen. You can't hear divine direction if your mind is full of distraction. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. You've been busy doing. But when was the last time you were just being? Being still, being grateful? Being aware of the miracle that you are? The world will always demand more, but your spirit is craving less. Less chaos, less comparison, less chasing. The greatest education you can ever receive is learning how to return to yourself. Sometimes peace doesn't come because we're trying to live a life that doesn't belong to us. We're wearing masks, performing roles, chasing dreams that someone else planted in our heart. But when you awaken the light within, you begin to see clearly. You realize that the power you've been begging for was already breathing in your chest. The answers you seek are inside the silence you keep avoiding. My friend, there will be seasons when you lose your way. That's okay. Even stars fade behind clouds, but they never stop shining. You may feel lost, but you're not forgotten. You may feel broken, but you're still chosen. The fact that you're still breathing means your story isn't finished. And maybe, just maybe, this storm is not meant to destroy you, but to awaken something deeper in you. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to have the courage to keep walking. Every step you take in faith activates something powerful. Peace begins where fear ends. Freedom begins where excuses die. The life you dream of is waiting on the other side of your decision to believe in yourself again. Stop saying, "I can't." The truth is, you can, because the one who created you never made a mistake. You are equipped, you are anointed, you are capable. The same God who turned water into wine can turn your weakness into wisdom, your pain into power, your tears into testimony. But you must choose to rise, you must choose to believe, you must choose to awaken. When you understand that the power is in your hand, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for people to agree with your calling. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You were not created to fit in, you were created to shine. When you walk in your peace, you walk in your power, and when you walk in your power, you change atmospheres. So tonight I challenge you, stop running from yourself. Stop searching for peace in people, possessions, or positions. Go back to that quiet place within you. Go back to the altar of your own heart. There you'll find it. The light that never left, the peace that never died, the power that's always been yours. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it, a light glowing softly inside your chest. Feel it expand with every breath. That's not imagination. That's recognition. That's your soul remembering what it's capable of. Let me leave you with this truth: the greatest miracle is not when the mountain moves, but when your mind does. Because once you shift your perspective, once you understand that you already carry divine strength inside you, no mountain can intimidate you again. Your peace is waiting inside you. The power is in your hand. Awaken the silent light within, and when you do, the world will see what God always saw in you: a vessel of peace, a beacon of hope, a masterpiece of power and grace. Now may your heart be still, your mind be renewed, and your spirit be ignited. May you walk into tomorrow knowing that you lack nothing, that you carry the answer within you, and that every step you take in faith illuminates the path before you. The light is already there. Just awaken it. There is a sacred light inside of you, a light that was spoken into existence before your first breath. It is not man, made, not learned, not earned. It is divine. It is the whisper of eternity living inside a human frame. It's the part of you that knows truth even when your mind doubts, The part that keeps believing even after life has broken your heart. That light is your original design, pure, steady, and powerful. You were created in the image of the Creator, and that image carries light. The world may try to convince you that you are ordinary, but heaven knows you are extraordinary because that divine spark lives in you. Life will try to dim that light. Circumstances will rise like shadows, people will misunderstand you, and failures will whisper that you are not enough. But your light was not placed in you by human hands, so human opinions cannot take it away. The storms that hit your life are not proof that your light is gone. They are the training ground where your glow becomes stronger. The fire that tried to burn you was the same fire that refined you. You may have walked through valleys that made you question your worth, but even there, the light within you kept flickering. It is the reason you're still standing, still breathing, still reaching. The silent light within is not loud. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It waits quietly, patiently, beneath the noise of your fears and the chaos of your thoughts. You have to learn to pause, to be still long enough to feel it again. When you quiet your mind and surrender your worries, you begin to sense it, a gentle peace rising, a subtle strength anchoring your heart. That's the divine light responding to your stillness. It reminds you that you are not lost. You are layered. The world sees your outer struggles, but God sees your inner shine. Sometimes the light is hidden because we've covered it with the dust of disappointment, guilt, or shame. But no matter how thick the layers, it never dies. It's like a seed buried beneath the soil, waiting for you to remember it, to water it with faith, to expose it again to the warmth of hope. You don't have to create the light, you only have to awaken it. And when it awakens, it changes everything. You begin to see life differently, not as a burden to survive, but as a gift to illuminate. You start to treat yourself with compassion because you realize you are carrying something holy. You start to walk taller because you understand you're not walking alone. That light is your divine companion. There's a glow in you that darkness cannot overcome. Every trial, every tear, every long night has been shaping that light to shine brighter. The silent light within is your compass, your comfort, your connection to the divine. It is not gone. It's waiting to be remembered, waiting to be released. Peace is not something you find when the noise stops. Peace is the quiet strength that holds you steady in the middle of the noise. It does not depend on where you are or who you are with. It depends on how deeply you are connected to the stillness within you. So many people spend their whole lives searching for peace as though it were lost treasure. In money, in success, in relationships, in recognition. They chase after it, thinking it's hiding somewhere outside of them. But peace is not out there, it's in here. It has always been. The world will tell you that peace comes when everything goes right. But the truth is, peace comes when you are right within yourself. You cannot buy peace, and you cannot borrow it from others. You cultivate it by turning inward, by quieting the storm in your own soul. The reason so many feel restless is because they've mistaken comfort for peace. Comfort can come from the world. A soft bed, a good job, a friendly face, but peace is a gift from within. It is the calm that whispers, "I'm safe," even when life is uncertain. It's the still voice that says, "I trust," even when you don't understand the path ahead. When you learn to anchor yourself in that voice, no storm can uproot you. There comes a time when you must stop running after people who disturb your peace and start protecting the sanctuary of your soul. The same God who created oceans and stars created stillness for your heart. But you must choose it. You must choose to stop feeding the chaos that drains you. Every moment you give away your inner calm to arguments, to comparison, to worry, you move further from your true self. Peace is not passive. It's powerful. It is the quiet defiance that refuses to let circumstances control your spirit. Sometimes God will strip away distractions not to punish you, but to bring you back to your peace. He'll let certain doors close because they were too noisy for your soul to hear his whisper. The delay, the disappointment, the detour, All of it is part of your training to find peace that doesn't break under pressure. You are not meant to live in constant anxiety, constantly proving your worth or begging for approval. You were meant to live in divine alignment, in a rhythm that flows with grace, not force. When you finally stop chasing peace in the world, you begin to discover it inside your own breath. It's there when you inhale gratitude, when you exhale surrender. It's in the pauses between thoughts, in the quiet moments when you realize you are already whole. The world outside may never be still, but you can be. You can carry your calm wherever you go, because true peace was never something to find. It was something to remember. The power to change your life has never been in someone else's hands. It has always been in yours. From the very beginning, you were equipped with the authority to shape your destiny through your choices, your faith, and your determination. Too many people live waiting for someone to rescue them, waiting for approval, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for a sign that it's safe to move. But the truth is, the moment you decide to act in faith, power begins to move through you. You don't need to wait for the right season when God already gave you the seed. You are not powerless. You are positioned. What you do with what's in your hand determines what happens next in your life. There are moments when you look around and think you have nothing left. No strength, no support, no resources. But even then, there is something in your hand. It might look small, it might look insignificant. But when you use it with faith, it becomes enough. A shepherd's staff split a sea, a widow's oil paid her debts, a young boy's lunch fed thousands. It was never about how much they had, it was about what they did with what they had. The same principle applies to you. The miracle is not in waiting for something new to appear. The miracle is in using what you already possess. The power in your hand begins with the power of your decision. Every transformation starts with a choice. A decision to stop complaining, to stop blaming, to stop doubting. When you shift from, I can't, to, I will, heaven begins to respond. God honors action that flows from faith. You don't need to have everything figured out to begin. You just need to begin. Fear will always tell you that you're not ready, but faith whispers that readiness is not the requirement. Willingness is. Sometimes we hand over our power to our past. We let old wounds, old words, and old failures define what we believe we can become. But power cannot live where excuses rule. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, you are surrendering your authority to your fear. And fear will never lead you toward your purpose. The moment you reclaim your voice and say, I still can, you break the chains that kept your potential bound. The power is not in what you've lost, it's in what remains. It's in your courage to try again. This power is not the kind that dominates others, it's the kind that liberates yourself. It's the ability to rise when life knocks you down, to forgive when bitterness wants to take root, to dream again after disappointment. The world may not hand you opportunities, but you can create them. You can speak life over your dry places, breathe hope into your waiting season, and turn your pain into purpose. Everything changes when you understand that the power has always been, and will always be, in your hand. Faith is the invisible bridge that carries you from where you are to where you are called to be. It is not born in comfort, it is forged in conflict. Faith does not grow in the sunshine of certainty, but in the storms of uncertainty, when everything you see contradicts what you believe. It's easy to have faith when the path is clear, but real faith is when you take the step, even though you can't see the ground beneath your feet. It's trusting that if God gave you the vision, He will also provide the provision. Faith is not blind, it simply sees beyond what the eyes can comprehend. It's the spiritual sight that allows you to walk confidently through seasons that make no sense. Every great purpose is tested by pain, and every great destiny requires faith to cross the distance between promise and fulfillment. You can't pray for elevation and then resist the process that builds your wings. Faith is what steadies you when the process feels unbearable. It's the voice inside that says, keep going, Even when the world says, "Give up," it reminds you that every delay is not denial, that every setback is a setup for something greater. When life closes a door, faith tells you that maybe that door wasn't meant to lead where you thought it would. Faith does not need to understand the whole plan, it just needs to trust the planner. The bridge of faith is built plank by plank, with trust, with obedience, with endurance. Each time you act in faith, you lay another board beneath your feet. When you forgive someone who hurt you, when you try again after failing, when you praise through your pain, you're building that bridge. You may not see it forming, but step by step, it carries you closer to your purpose. The crossing is not easy, because the bridge of faith often stretches over deep valleys of fear and doubt. But if you keep walking, you'll discover that what seemed impossible was only a test of how deeply you believe. Faith and fear will always compete for space in your heart. Fear shouts, faith whispers. Fear shows you what might go wrong, faith shows you what can go right. Fear says, "You've lost too much." Faith says, "You still have enough." You choose which voice to believe. The strength of your faith is not measured by the size of your prayer, but by your willingness to keep moving while you wait for the answer. It is the bridge that carries you from pain into purpose, from confusion into clarity, from despair into destiny. Without faith, you stay stuck on the shore of what could be, paralyzed by what has been. But when you take that first trembling step, the bridge begins to appear beneath your feet. It was always there, waiting for your courage to activate it. Faith does not make life easy, but it makes it possible. It's the sacred bridge between your heartbreak and your healing, your failure and your fulfillment, your fear and your freedom. Stillness is not weakness, it is the sacred space where strength is born. In a world that worships hurry, stillness feels like rebellion. Yet it is in that quiet, unhurried space that your soul begins to breathe again. The noise of life can drown the voice of wisdom, and when your mind is filled with constant motion, you lose connection with the very presence that gives you direction. Stillness is not the absence of activity, it is the presence of awareness. It's learning to stop long enough to listen, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. The voice of God, the whisper of truth, the peace you've been chasing, they all speak most clearly in silence. We've been taught that success means doing more, achieving faster, never stopping. But endless motion leads to exhaustion, not fulfillment. There is power in pause. When you sit in silence, you begin to remember who you are beyond your roles, beyond your responsibilities, beyond your worries. You begin to recognize that you are more than what you produce. In stillness, you come face to face with your essence, your divine identity. You begin to see that you are not just moving through life, life itself is moving through you. Stillness is where revelation lives. It's where ideas are born, where healing begins, where direction becomes clear. You cannot hear divine instruction over the clamor of anxiety or the hum of constant distraction. Sometimes God will slow your life down not to punish you, but to position you. He will silence the outer world so you can hear the inner one. The answers you've been praying for are not far from you. They're waiting in the quiet corners of your own heart. You must dare to be still long enough to hear them. It takes courage to be still because silence exposes truth. When you stop moving, the feelings you've buried start to surface. The hurt, the fear, the questions you've ignored. But it is through facing those emotions that healing happens. Stillness is a mirror. It shows you where you are and who you're becoming. When you stop running from your pain and start sitting with it, you begin to understand its purpose. The lessons you resisted in chaos become clear in calm. You cannot fight your battles with constant noise. You win them through clarity, and clarity comes from quiet. Every time you retreat into stillness, through prayer, through reflection, through simply breathing, you are recharging your inner power. The world may call it doing nothing, but spiritually it's everything. It's the reset that realigns you with your purpose. It's the pause that prepares you for your next move. The storms outside cannot shake a soul that's anchored in stillness. When you learn to rest your mind and steady your spirit, you realize that the peace you were looking for in the world was whispering inside you all along. My friends, if you have heard anything tonight, let it be this: you are not lost, you are not powerless, and you are not empty. The light within you is still shining. The peace you long for is not hiding in another place, another person, or another moment. It is already living inside you, waiting for your recognition, waiting for your surrender. The storms of life may rage, the world may shake, but you carry a strength that cannot be broken, the power to choose, the power to rise, the power to awaken what God placed within you from the very beginning. Every lesson, every tear, every delay has been preparing you to see what was always there. That your destiny has never been outside of you. It's been breathing in your own chest. So walk boldly into your tomorrow. Believe in the light you carry. Let your peace lead you, not your fear. When life gets heavy, return to your stillness. When doubt creeps in, remember your divine design. When the world tells you it's over, remind yourself that the power is in your hand. And with that power, nothing is impossible. Now let us close our hearts in gratitude. Almighty and merciful God, we thank you for the gift of breath, for the wisdom to hear, and for the courage to rise again. Thank you for the light you've hidden in every soul, a flame that no darkness can quench. Bless every heart listening. Restore their peace, renew their strength, and remind them of their worth. May your love surround them like morning sunlight. May your grace steady their steps through every storm. Let their hearts be calm, their minds be clear, and their spirits be brave. And as they leave this moment, may they walk not in fear, but in faith, not in confusion, but in clarity, not in weakness, but in divine power. Amen.